it's really important that we acknowledge some people who have received, today will receive Diabetes New Zealand awards. I'm just going to change the order slightly, and the first award I'm going to talk about is the Diabetes New Zealand Silver Medal Award, which is presented to persons who've been managing their diabetes with insulin for more than 25 years. And our recipient today is Sian Chapman, who was diagnosed with diabetes in July 1997 when she was living in South Africa. Sian is a member of the Diabetes New Zealand Advisory Council and a passionate advocate for funding of CGMs and the use of technology for all people with diabetes. So congratulations, Sian. It's great that you were able to come today. And why don't you come forward to receive the award, please? Thank you. The next person I'd like to acknowledge is David Town, and David is going to receive the Sir Charles Burns Award. I was a bit discombobulated, Jim, when you said that Sir Charles Burns maybe wasn't the first person. However, Diabetes New Zealand has recognised Sir Charles Burns as the person who was regarded as the first resident doctor to administer insulin to a patient in a New Zealand hospital. And so that event took place in 1923, although he may have been usurped. It's a bit like, you know, who flew first? Was it the New Zealanders or the, you know, same issue. So anyway, so we know that Sir Charles Burns had a distinguished medical career, and we know that he was regarded as a very innovative physician. But we established this award to recognise any person who's managed their diabetes for at least 50 years. And so, David, I'd like you to come forward and receive this award from me. Thank you. Want to say a word? Briefly. I'm not hurrying you, but...
Catherine said that to me at afternoon tea. Do you want to say a word? So I'm not prepared, but it's been a great symposium, lots of information and presentations. We all obviously know what we want to achieve. We want CGM for all diabetics. I made it to 50 years, and I was talking to Neil at the break. He's made it to 70 years. And we made it because we both agree. We took control of our, I was going to say disease, it's not a disease. We took control of our lives, and we took control through the technology that was available. Whether it was the change to disposable needles, to dial-up needles, glucose monitoring, and now CGMs. It's an advancement, and it makes type 1 diabetics have a lot better life. And probably unknown to the politicians, it saves money in the long run. And that's really what we want to achieve. We want them to realise that. And anyway, I'd like to thank everybody, and it's been great.
And finally, I want to present the Diabetes New Zealand Award to a person who is already featured in a presentation today, and that is going to be to Ruby McGill. And Diabetes New Zealand presents this award to a person who's either directly or indirectly made a significant contribution to support people with diabetes in New Zealand. This may be as a result of their contribution to the care and support of people with diabetes, and or their contribution to support better management of diabetes. The person that nominated Ruby wrote this: I believe Ruby should receive a Diabetes New Zealand award to recognise the amazing support she offers to those with diabetes in New Zealand. Ruby kindly shares her journey with type 1 diabetes on her Instagram and Facebook pages. This is a huge support to not only others with type 1, but also parents of children with type 1. My 5-year-old daughter was diagnosed at 3.5 years, and I have followed Ruby since then. Not only does Ruby take time out of her day to share her experiences, highs and lows, in more ways than blood sugars, she is also a member of the Diabetes New Zealand Advisory Council. She campaigns tirelessly for funding for CGMs and was present at Parliament to present the petition with Ben Wheeler and Eddie Wrights. Ruby is a kind person who always answers any messages I send her about diabetes. I think she is a wonderful asset to the diabetes community, and I would love to see all her hard work recognised in the form of this award. It doesn't get much better than this. Please come forward, Ruby, and accept this award.
Thank you. It's always a bit nerve-wracking, and I know anyone in the type 1 community who does any of this mahi, we just do it because there's got to be a reason we were dealt this card in this hand, and thinking about the advocacy for funded CGMs, and I know that I am one person in this massive community who's fighting hard, and we will not stop. And I'm really empowered to hear from Renza, to know that we're doing so many things right. I still remember when I started working for Diabetes New Zealand back in 2017, fresh-faced, so passionate and convinced that overnight we'd make this happen. Here we are, 5 years later, but we'll keep going. Incredible to hear from Ben about the gold standard. So living with type 1 for 24 years, my HbA1c is currently 41, and I know that is 100% due to the fact that I have the privilege to use the gold standard, and that needs to be available to everybody. Thank you.
And finally, it comes my turn to close the symposium. And you'll be pleased to know I've torn up all my notes and just want to speak very briefly about what a wonderful and stimulating event I have participated in today. And I'd sincerely like to thank all those people who were involved in bringing this together and bringing all these people into one room. On the other hand, I stand here slightly depressed that we really don't have the policymakers in here and the people that are actually should be here listening to these stories, the people who can hear about the hearts and minds and who make the decisions, and they're not here. So the challenge for those of us who've organised this conference is how do we summarise what we've picked up today, get that out in social media and start actually making sure that everybody picks up the key themes that come out of this conference. So Jim and I will be having a conversation a bit later on. But listen, there are lots of key words, aren't there? Life-changing. My daughter tells me it's life-changing. Reduces the burden on the individual. Reduces the burden on the health system. The consumer voice is extremely important. It's the quality of life that matters. Pharmac doesn't measure that. It's quantitative. You can actually work out how much absenteeism, what the value of loss of absenteeism is in the community. You know what I'm trying to say. But it's not taken into account. There are still some key things that we need to be doing to increase our advocacy and get the message. So messaging is important. What are our key messages and what should we be hammering home, etc. And I totally agree. This event today has been a partnership, and it's by using our partnerships that we will eventually get there. I'm an absolute optimist. It will be funded. we need to just keep going and listen to it. I'd also, just before I close, like to thank all the people who've made presentations today. Hugely interesting, very, very stimulating. A great place and a great event that you've put on, and I'd like to thank everybody very, very much for both attending and participating, so thank you all.